one.
Ew.
All
I was
right.
hoping, Kevin, I was hoping for a Journey song or something. I don't.
That's the close. We'll do that at the end. Folks, hey, welcome to this special event. This is the first time that we have ever done an event like this to really focus on member value for our new members and our members, because Dr. Sarah Glova, she has been a rock star. She's our VP of Member Experience and has added so many new levels of member value for NSA Carolinas. So let's give her a quick shout out, or virtual, right? If you're watching this on demand, welcome. Thanks for being here. Also, for those of you that are with us live, a few years back, NSA Carolinas, it's always been a strong chapter, but our membership kind of hovered around 50 to 60 members. And that's great. It's not about quantity, it's about quality, right? Well, now we're hovering above 120. And I feel like we're in a really exciting position too, to even take it further, not just in quantity, but also just in that member experience. How can we help you grow in your speaking, grow personally, grow professionally, learn from each other, and support each other? If anything, I learned through the pandemic more than anything with my involvement in NSA Carolinas was the importance of community and support and connection. And that's really what we want to do today, is just support you. I'm gonna hand it over to Sarah here in just a second. But I'm curious, look around the gallery view if you don't mind. And for those of you that have been with NSA Carolinas, you just joined in the past 1 or 2 months. Would you give us a little, raise your hand? Let's see if we have anybody who's kind of on the newer side. Yay! Jenny, James, John. I probably missed somebody. What about the past year? If you're a new member within the past year. Jerry?
Nice.
Good.
Deanna.
All right, this is awesome. And Jim too. And some of you, I feel like you've been a member for a while because you've come as guests. You're kind of like me. When I first started at NSA Carolinas, I came as a guest for like 2 or 3 years. And until one of our CPAEs said, why would you not want to be a member of the association that you say that's your industry or your business? And I thought, yeah. And the moment that I joined, I got more value from it. So anyway, we welcome everybody. And today, Sarah's going to give us an overview of just some really cool things that you can take advantage of. And we are here to support you. We welcome your involvement too as volunteers, because we are a volunteer board that runs everything. So thank you. Give yourself a round of applause one more time. And without further ado, I will shut up so that Dr. Sarah Glova, our VP Member Experience, can take the helm. So Sarah, thank you.
Sir. Thank you, Kevin, El Presidente. I really appreciate you and that awesome introduction to kick off our Wednesday. Y'all, I've really been looking forward to this because when I joined NSA, I was really excited to join the community, but I did not take advantage of all the member benefits. Frankly, I didn't do enough research. I didn't feel like I knew enough about the benefits, and I didn't take advantage of all of them. So I am here today to make sure that that doesn't happen to you. I want to make sure you have all your questions answered. Now, I do have a short presentation I'm going to go through just to talk about some of the benefits, some of the most popular ones. And then I'm hoping to wrap up a little early because I want to answer any specific questions you might have. If you've been having a little trouble with e-speakers, or you're curious about where to apply the badge, whatever it is, I want to be here as your one-on-one benefits coach for today. So that is my goal. I have a little bit of help today from our NSA Carolinas mascot, Mike. Woo-hoo! Mike is new to our chapter this year. He was developed as part of my committee's member engagement mission. The idea is that Mike is going to help us learn about our benefits all year long. So hopefully you've already seen at least one email from Mike. You can expect to see more this year. He's going to send us out reminders across the whole chapter, not just to new members. Reminders about what your benefits are and how you can leverage them. So everyone meet Mike. Just like you, Mike is technically a new member. He just joined us this year. So he's also a little bit curious about what the benefits are and what he can learn. So he's bringing his curiosity today. As I mentioned, I'm going to go through a short presentation of the most popular benefits, and then we're going to flip it back over to y'all for questions. So I'll look at the gallery. Does that sound good to y'all? Awesome. Mike, does that sound good to you? He says yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Mike. All right, let's jump into some of our most popular NSA Carolinas benefits. I would not be able to start this off just by listing some transactional benefits. I have to start it off by saying the number one benefit is the community. The community that we have at NSA Carolinas is absolutely one of the reasons to keep renewing and to stay involved with the chapter. Just as a small example, I actually just joined NSA Carolinas not last summer, not 2023, but 2022. So I've got a year and some change under my belt. And I have messaged folks in NSA Carolinas for travel advice about traveling to a specific area where clothing options for women have some cultural context, and I wanted some advice. I've asked, for example, contracts. I've had folks share their demo reels with me. I've gotten advice on how to use AI. It's hard for me to understate how much I've leveraged the community. And so I want to encourage you. I think you'll find as you reach out to members of this chapter that people are amazingly and wonderfully willing to get coffee with you, have a quick conversation over Zoom with you. So I want to encourage you to be reaching out to your community. And we'll talk about some ways that you can do that. But absolutely, number one benefit is the community. Now, I don't want to embarrass Lynn Unsworth, but I see that she just signed in. So let me stop sharing for a second so y'all can say hey to her. Y'all, Lynn is based in the Burlington area, and she is on the NSA Carolinas Member Experience Committee. So she's on the committee that's responsible for today's webinar and a lot of the mic emails and the other things that you see. So Lynn, I just want to give you a shout out and say thank you so much for your volunteer work with our committee. Anything you want to say to some of our new members or our existing members who are here for a benefits refresher before we jump in?
No, just welcome, welcome, welcome. I tuned in just about the time that you said you were talking about the membership group, and it's like, I don't know that I've ever found a group that was more welcoming and more willing to share and interested in, sometimes some groups are more like, I don't want to tell you any secrets because you're competing with me, but the premise behind the NSA Carolinas group is that there's enough business out there for everybody, and we want to see everybody succeed. So that's a big takeaway for me. I'm going into my second year of membership. So, and I think was probably a really good investment and a good idea to join. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for that, Lynn. And I know today's a busy day for you. I know you're teaching. I see that whiteboard behind you. So thank you for jumping in.
That's okay. I'm put everybody on lunch break so that I could come in and be with you. So anyway, I'll stay around for a few minutes and then I might hop off. So
thanks so much, Lynn. And then Lynn, if you have a second, feel free to throw your LinkedIn link into the chat if you'd like, just in case people want to connect with you. I'll do the same a little bit later, y'all. Lynn is a fantastic person. She's definitely somebody that when I was newer, I kind of was a magnet over to her at some of the events. She was always a friendly face. So definitely someone to connect with. Thanks, Lynn. All right, let's jump back into it with Mike here. The second benefit that I want to draw your attention to is the NSA Carolinas badge. Now, I feel like this one is actually a bit underutilized, and I want to call attention to some of the ways that this can be used. So as a member, you can access the NSA Carolinas badge. This is a badge that highlights your membership in this chapter. We are an elite chapter, which just means that we're one of the top chapters. We've got a lot of great things going on. We're so proud of that designation. Now, I wanted to show you some ways that the badge is being used. There are a couple different badges. There's also an NSA national member badge that you can use. And then there are some certification badges you can use. So I want to clear up any confusion about that. So let me show off a couple things from some of our members. I'm going to drive you over to Mike Mooney's website. You're going to get that pun in just a second. So Mike Mooney is past president, all-around rock star, member of NSA Carolinas, known for driving people forward. That's because he's got a lot of NASCAR experience, y'all. If you go on his website and scroll to the bottom here, there's a lot of great content on his site. You should check it out. Look at what we find right here at the bottom. He is a professional speaker with the NSA National Speakers Association. He is a proud member. And you see he's got some other certifications and badges here. I'll talk to you a little bit more about those in a second. But putting that in the footer of your website is really common. Another example, Sharon Delaney McLeod, she's a fantastic member of our organization. And same thing, her website is fantastic if you want to check it out. Scroll to the bottom and bam, what do you see right here? All the badges of the organizations that she's a part of, including that she is a proud speaker and member with NSA Carolinas. This is that NSA Nationals badge. Now, what I would love to do is after this session, we're going to be emailing out the recording, obviously. We're also going to be emailing out the badge. So if you would like to add this to your website, you are welcome to do so. You can also, I'm going to highlight Sharon one more time. This is an email that I received from Sharon last month, and you can see in her email signature, she's got her badges as well. So that's a great place to put your badge. Now, in addition to your NSA Carolinas badge, your chapter also supports other certifications that you might be considering as a speaker. Now, one of the certifications that you might have already heard about is what's called CSP. The CSP designation is a really well-known one. Our chapter provides some support for that designation. I'll talk about that in a second, but it's not the only one. There are a number of certifications, designations that you might choose to go after as a speaker. And being a part of NSA Carolinas can help you learn about those designations, talk with folks who have those designations, and help you identify best practices for getting some of those designations. So let's take a look at what some of those are. So I want to jump back to Sharon's email signature here for a second. This next one right next to her, she is eSpeakers, a certified virtual presenter. If you saw just last month, we had an event in Raleigh, North Carolina, where we talked about becoming a certified virtual presenter. It was an event all about virtual speaking. And we learned that for under $100, you can get this certified virtual presenter badge. You can do that through a program called eSpeakers, which we'll talk more about, but you don't have to be a member with eSpeakers to get this badge. It's a technical certification. So if you go for it, they will ask you to present virtually on Zoom, but you can present whatever. You can talk about what's in your sock drawer. It's not a content evaluation. It's a technical evaluation. Are you visible within the Zoom window? Is your audio clear? If the audio goes out, do you quickly pick up a phone and sign in that way? And if you pass all of those items, then you get this badge. And you can see that Sharon, again, has it right here in her email signature. And if I jump back to her website, she also has it right here on her website. So being a part of NSA Carolinas can help you learn about certifications or designations like the eSpeakers Certified Virtual Presenter. Another one that you might have heard about is this idea of a CSP. Okay, so a CSP is a Certified Speaking Professional designation, and it's managed by the National Speakers Association, the national organization that our chapter is a part of. And you can see here that it's an international designation, and only about 70% of NSA members worldwide have earned this. And if you think about the overall population and the number of speakers who aren't even NSA members, that percentage gets even smaller. So it's an elite certification. Now, this certification is time consuming, and we can talk to some folks who have gotten it. Our chapter recently hosted a special interest group, what we call a SIG, just to talk about this designation. And we pulled in members from NSA Carolinas who earned this designation, and we asked them to share their best practices and lessons learned. So that's just one of the ways that our chapter supports folks who are going after this designation. And one of the things we're talking about doing is creating an action team, an annual action team to support anyone who goes after this designation so that we can put them in a group with other folks and they can work together, share updates on their deadlines, hold each other accountable, etc. I want to highlight someone's profile who's got all these things and more. So if you've met Stan Phelps at some of our events, this is his website. This one's a really fun one to check out. There's Stan. If you go to the bottom of his website, you can see that his NSA badge looks a little different because not only is he a member of NSA, but he is a CSP. So he's got the CSP badge related to his NSA membership. And you can see over here, he's also a certified virtual presenter. There's another designation you might hear about, and I just want to share these in case it's helpful. If you hear about a CPAE, that's a Council of Peers Award for Excellence. It's also called Hall of Fame Speaker, a CPAE Hall of Fame Speaker. In 1977, NSA, the National Speakers Association, established this award, CPAE, as a Hall of Fame to honor professional speakers who have reached what they call the top echelon. So if you see that designation, that's what that means. I want to call out to you, when we talk about community in our chapter includes CSPs and CPAEs. And so when you join this chapter, you are meeting, learning from, having opportunities to connect with folks who have all those designations and more. Now, Kevin, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I know you recently earned your CSP, and you have absolutely had a chance to meet so many folks who have these designations. And so anything else you'd like to add about how our chapter supports folks who are going after these things?
Great question. At the conference, the annual conference called Influence this past July, and I've been involved with many associations in my higher ed background. I've never felt more cheerleaded and congratulated and welcomed than when I earned the CSP this past year. I wore, you can see it behind me. It's that little ribbon thing, and it's behind me for a reason, y'all, because it's a symbol of distinction in a way, not for anyone that's earned it. But I carried that thing around with me for 3 days and just got stopped constantly. And I think that's a really good testimony to not just the speaking profession of NSA, but the CSP is a great North Star to shoot for, to say, look, this is a symbol of the top echelon in speakers. And to Sarah's point, NSA Carolinas is one of the chapters that has the highest number of CSPs and CPAEs and CAVIT award winners than any other chapter in the country. And that's just something to be aware of and to be proud about. So the CSP is a great North Star to kind of shoot for and say, well, how do I pursue and achieve this? What are those requirements? It's all online that Sarah's talked about. So you can kind of study it, break it down, put it on your vision board, shoot for that CSP.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. And to your point, we've heard from a number of members who attended this year's SIG, that special interest group meeting that I mentioned, to learn about the CSP designation. And they said, you know what? I'm not ready yet. It's not my year. I'm not going to apply this year, but I know I want to apply in 3 years. And so knowing about those requirements and talking to folks who got that designation, that helps me to prepare. So that's part of what being a part of this chapter is all about, is having that opportunity to learn about those requirements, talk to people who have gone through that, and then put that, as you said, I love what you said, Kevin, put that on your vision board. All right, so support for certifications, that's a big reason to be a part of our chapter, learning about what those certifications are, and then finding support for learning more about how to earn those certifications if you're interested in them. I also want to point out that NSA Carolinas has a membership directory. And we know that folks go to the NSA Carolinas websites and then click on our member directory when they're looking for speakers. We know that our current members leverage it. You might have seen this already. If you've gone out and spoken somewhere and that's gone really well, sometimes that organization will then come back to you and say, we loved what you shared. Next year, our theme is business ethics. Do you know anyone who speaks about that? And I know that I can go to my NSA Carolinas chapter and look, and I might find Lynn Unsworth listed right there as somebody who talks about business ethics. And then I can recommend her with confidence, knowing her from NSA Carolinas. So our membership directory is a great resource. We encourage you to update your information in your membership directory. And I want to show you a pretty neat trick that some of our members have related to their membership directory. Someone please tell Sharon Delaney McLeod how much I picked on her today, if you talk to her later. So here again is Sharon's website. If you go to the bottom again, where she has her badge that says she is with NSA Carolinas, watch what happens when I click on it. She made it a link, y'all. So that link goes right to her membership profile on the NSA Carolinas website. And it's got all the information about her, and it helps to highlight for anyone who might see that badge and not know, hey, what does that mean? If they click on it, They see what it is. They see that it's the National Speakers Association, NSA Carolinas, and then they can see her information right here. Now you can choose what information gets shared here. She's got a link to her website, which is fantastic. That link to your website is great for search engine optimization or SEO. So I encourage you to update this member profile. Now, all you need to do to update that is log in to your NSA Carolinas website. And then after you log in, you have a chance to update that information. And I'm going to stay on the call when we're done going through these most popular benefits. Anyone who's having trouble with that or has questions, let me know, and I'm happy to help. I also want to call out, the next thing I want to talk about is the benefit of your e-speakers profile. So that is different from your NSA Carolinas membership profile. Let's see, who do I have here that I can call out? Okay, so Ruby, I'm going to ask you to echo me in a second, okay? I'm a big fan of Ruby. We just got to meet in person at the last event. Okay, so Ruby, the NSA Carolinas membership directory is different from the e-speakers directory, okay? So I'm going to ask you to repeat. The NSA Carolinas membership directory
Repeat
is
what
what?
you just said. See, I'm slow. I'm like, what am I? I'm waiting for the tell me. So the NSA membership directory is different than the e-speakers membership directory.
Yes, it is, Ruby. Thank you very much. Such a rock star. The NSA Carolinas membership directory is very important. Please update it so that your information is updated there. You also have access as part of your NSA Carolinas membership. You have access to e-speakers. You can get a free basic account. It's not free for everyone. That basic account is not free for everyone, but it's free for you because you are with NSA Carolinas. And there is a discount code associated with how you register for this. But when you register for it, you can create a profile much like you see here from Sharon's. Now, Sharon's is really impressive, y'all. She's got 32 recommendations. She's a certified TEDx speaker. I want to show you a simpler one so as you don't get discouraged. So here's mine. And I'm not exaggerating when I say I updated this last week. And I didn't get around to updating my headshot. I need to do that because I've recently hacked off all my hair. But it is pretty easy to put in a description of yourself, what you speak about, some of your fee range, and then you can add your associations over here. Your about information and some of your programs, which those are your common talks, then go here. So again, you get access to this basic account. Now, eSpeakers has a lot of features. And so having that basic account will not unlock all of your features, but it does unlock enough to where you can have a profile. And I have seen folks who list that they are a speaker, a keynote speaker on LinkedIn or on their website, then link to their eSpeakers profile as an example of how they're participating in the speaking industry. So I just want to encourage you to consider that eSpeakers benefit. And in just a second, I will go to my notes and I'll put that promo code and that information in the chat. Now I do want to ask, I've just stopped sharing the screen so I can see all of your wonderful faces. Is anybody already using eSpeakers? I see a show of hands if you're already using it. Okay, I see Jim, Michelle, Patrick, Jim, awesome. So would any of you be willing to share your perspective on what it's like to update it or any benefits that you've seen from using it? Jim, I might pick on you because
I will.
Oh, go ahead, Michelle. Go
because
ahead.
I'm the worst at technical stuff. I run in the opposite direction. And actually, I've managed to set up a profile. But what's been fabulous is being able to see all you lovely people and then go and look at how you've done it and kind of utilize that information, you know, as to how to approach it because it's a blank page. But I managed to set up a profile. So that is more than I've done on other platforms. So it must be simple.
You're amazing. I think you're underselling your abilities, but wonderfully done because we all know how hard it is to do some of those red tape tasks related to our business. So yes, Larissa is giving you the party emoji. Well deserved. Jim, anything to share about your experience with eSpeakers?
Yes, it is very easy to facilitate the use of. It's not that complicated. I had someone in NSA Carolinas kind of help me walk through it. So I had some help. And I think what it does for me is it kind of solidifies. So if you look at my, let's say, LinkedIn or my website, you'd see I'm primarily a coach and I do a lot of coaching. But I'm also a speaker. So it gives me a platform where my speaking is highlighted more than it is in other places. My revenue for a year, about 30% is through speaking. The rest is through my coaching business. So that's the bread and butter of how I exist. But I love speaking, and I do it inside my coaching as well as out. So it's a great platform to highlight that part of my business.
That is awesome. Jim, thank you so much for sharing that. That was really well done. And I'm going to volunteer you for the next member orientation webinar because that was so well explained. That's going to keep other folks from speaking up. Scratch that. I'm just kidding. You will not get voluntold for anything by contributing to this webinar. Kevin, I saw something that you put in the chat about getting business through eSpeakers. Can you just briefly touch on what that looks like, maybe how inquiries come through?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they come through because a meeting planner or an executive or whoever might be booking the speaker, that's where they go sometimes to look. And, you've got your programs on there. You've got hopefully some reviews. I think Stan Phelps, actually past president, actually has the highest number of reviews on eSpeakers with over 200. And it's a platform like any other platform. You got to work it. Number one would be you get a free, just to emphasize this, we've worked it out with eSpeakers that NSA Carolinas members get a free basic profile to at least get on there. And if you want to go upgrade to Pro, which is what, just in the spirit of transparency, I have a Pro membership. You get 2 years for the price of one right now. And that's only for NSA Carolinas members. So if you're not an NSA Carolinas member, you don't get that. But it's just a great way to be found. It's another platform to take advantage of to be found for a speaking engagement or a workshop or something of that nature.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. To be clear, Kevin and I get zero benefits if you join eSpeakers. There is no affiliate program that we're just fans, and we would love to see you utilize. Again, your basic account is free because of NSA Carolinas. It wouldn't be free otherwise, so please go take advantage of that because you've already got it. I've added that into the chat. I've also just added into the chat, there is a coupon code, as Kevin mentioned. If you'd like to get your first year free, you pay for a year, but you get 2 years. There's another coupon code for that, and you can upgrade to Pro and get that free for a year. So all of that information is in the chat space. And yes, the CSP designation that we talked about earlier actually ties in to eSpeakers. And if anyone has questions about that, we can talk about that at the end. Okay, so let's get back to Mike. So as we mentioned, it's the membership directory that is, as Ruby so beautifully explained, that's the NSA Carolinas membership directory, which is different from the eSpeakers directory. You have access to both, and we encourage you to use both. So please update your NSA Carolinas membership directory and activate your basic profile within eSpeakers so that you can access all of those benefits. Now, I think one of the more popular NSA Carolina benefits, and maybe one of the reasons that people join at first, is our discounted and free events. Once you join NSA Carolinas, you receive a discount on a lot of our bigger events, but you also have access to the free, or what we like to call member-only events. A few minutes ago, I mentioned our special interest groups, or our SIGs, S-I-G. And these events have been a fantastic resource for me, and I know a lot of other folks in the NSA Carolinas community. And you get access to these because you are a member of NSA Carolinas. These SIGs are usually topical. So for example, a few weeks ago, we had one about publishing a book, and we talked all about the book publishing process, what that looks like, how to hold yourself accountable, traditional publishing, hybrid publishing, self-publishing, all the things. It was fantastic. And that was a SIG meeting. And so not only was it facilitated, we had a great conversation, but we had members join who had done that before and were sharing their lessons learned, not just as authors, but as authors who speak. So you get that really specific viewpoint. So our discounted and free events are a huge benefit of NSA Carolinas. And the best way to stay informed about what those are going to be is by making sure that you're reading the member emails. And those come from the same address all the time. It's that info@nsacarolinas.org. So making sure that you have that email address saved as one of your contacts so that you're always getting that email. Then you'll get notified about our events, both the free ones and the ones that come at a cost, but are always more than worth the value. So discounted and free events. A last one that I want to mention before we jump into the Q&A session today is access to what are called masterminds. Now, we do have a couple members who are on today who are a part of a mastermind group, but you might be familiar with masterminds from other associations that you've been a part of. In general, a mastermind is a group of folks who get together who are all working toward the same general goal. We like to say similar path, similar shoes, right? They're all at about the same level and they're all working at about the same goal. They have the same kind of general vision in mind. But of course, how they're executing that goal is a little bit different. Their expertise all a little bit different. The reason to join a mastermind is so that you can get feedback from others about your progress, so that you have accountability partners, so that you have support when you hit obstacles, and so you have some cheerleading, some folks to help celebrate with you when you have achievements. And so if you're interested in a mastermind, most of them meet quarterly. There are smaller groups, so they can include between 5 to 10 people. And the goal is for that group to get together and to meet over a longer period of time. So it's not just something that happens, for a year. The idea is that you meet with these people and you establish a longer term relationship so that when you have something pop up, these are the folks that you can pick up the phone and call. So I want to differentiate those masterminds from our SIGs, our special interest groups, and some task forces that might come out of that. So I mentioned the book publishing SIG that we had just a few weeks ago. That was open to all members. Whereas a mastermind group is going to be a closed group. That's only going to be open to the members of that mastermind group. Also, the SIGs are topical. So each of those meetings are going to be about something specific, like book publishing. Whereas the masterminds might not always have a specific theme. A lot of times it's when we get together, we update each other on our progress and mention what our next accountability goal is going to be. And then we have general discussion or hot seat discussions. The final difference I want to mention is the SIGs might spin out a task force. So say we have a book publishing SIG, and there are a number of folks who are like, hey, I'm writing a book right now and I would love an accountability group. We might stand up an action team around that goal, but it's short-lived, right? Once the book comes out or once that ends, that group might no longer meet. Whereas again, a mastermind might meet for longer term. This is a multi-year relationship that you're developing with those folks. So happy to answer any questions you might have about that. But those are different benefits with very different end goals, but both beneficial in their own ways. A final thing I want to mention is the idea that you can vote. So as a member of NSA Carolinas, you have a voice. You get to vote on chapter issues, and similar to event notifications, any opportunities that you have to vote or participate in a member survey, anything like that, will come to you via email. So keep an eye out on your email for that. You can help vote on issues that our chapter wants to bring forward to membership, or on, for example, our upcoming slate of board of directors, which is usually put into place in the summer. So as a member, you have a voice. You also have the opportunity to get involved. So earlier you heard from Lynn Unsworth, who is a member of the Member Experience Committee. Say that 3 times fast. Member of the Member Experience Committee. So I'm VP of Member Experience, and I have a committee that works with me on the really big goals that the Member Experience Committee set for this year on how we're going to support new members and existing members. And so I get to work with Lynn and also Mike Rabinowski. Nope, I did it wrong. Mike Rabinowitz. I think I did it that time. I've been practicing that. Who's based in Charlotte. I've known Mike since I joined NSA Carolinas. We were actually in the NSA Speakers Academy together. I'm a huge fan of Mike, despite not always being able to pronounce his last name. We actually have similar topics that we speak about. He also joined the NSA Member Experience Committee. So those two committee members work with me and we work on member experience. We also have committees related to programs. So maybe you're interested in helping to support what kind of programs our chapter brings to the table. We have communications and marketing. So maybe you're interested in helping to spotlight our members on social media or write some of the emails that go out to our members. There's a lot that you could get involved with. So if you're interested in meeting more folks at NSA Carolinas and supporting the chapter, you as a member can get involved. And an easy way to do that is to just contact anyone who's currently on the board and let them know that you're interested. Okay, that was a fast wrap up of some of the most popular benefits at NSA Carolinas. I'd like to move now to a section where we ask questions of each other. I'd love to hear your questions about accessing member benefits or some other benefits that you would like to see. But before we do that, can I just say again, welcome. We are so glad that you're here. Thank you for being a part of this chapter and for being interested in the benefits. It is genuinely a collaborative and supportive community. Every member of NSA Carolinas wants you to be successful in your journey as a speaker and would love to support you. So please let us know how we can do that. And we're going to be really excited to get to know you more and to learn more about how we can support you going forward. Let me stop the share here. All right. Quick reminder, we will be emailing this recording out and access to the NSA member badge and those promo codes. So we'll be sending that out. So you might have a question about some other things that we can send, and that would be great. Or you might have a specific question about these benefits. So who would like to go first? Larice, yes.
Hi, thank you. Good to see everybody today. Thank you, Sarah. When I signed up for this workshop, I had to put in what I speak about. I would love to see that on the NSA members directory, because I don't see a spot on my profile or anyone else's about what we speak about. So that's what I have in there. And then is there an e-speakers badge?
I know there's an e-speakers badge. I think there is a way to create a graphic for e-speakers that then links to your profile. So let me look into that and I'll send that, Larice, in the wrap-up email, the e-speakers. I'll call it a badge, but I'm not sure if they call it that. They might call it like a profile icon or an embedded profile, but whatever it is.
Yeah. Is there any way to adjust our website so we can put on that profile what we speak about?
Yes, the first question that you asked. So looking at the NSA Carolinas member directory, that is in our control. Now, there are some limitations, but I do think we can update what shows up there. I'll verify that with you, Kevin, but we can certainly get in touch with our chapter admin and see what possibilities are available there.
Great.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's exactly what you called it, Sarah. More, it's less of a badge and more of like a e-speakers icon or image that is clickable, or you can make it clickable, then links to your e-speakers. And I know a lot of speakers, I don't have that set up. That's for a lot of folks on their email signatures, that's kind of the call to action. So, but you can only have it, you can only use it if you have the profile, you know, so that's another reason to get the profile or to get, you know, create a profile.
Awesome. So that e-speakers badge or icon, whatever they call it, we'll find that, Larice, and put that in the wrap-up email. Kevin, anything on whether the NSA member directory can include that information about what people speak about?
Yeah, no, Larice, I'm so glad that you mentioned that. Thank you. Because that's why we added that. I felt the same way a couple months ago when I was looking at the members. I was scrolling through all the members just to kind of get to know everybody. I felt like as president, I kind of, you know, there's some folks that's like, I don't know if I've met them yet. And I thought there's a lot more information I'd like to know. Like, hey, what are your topics? What do you speak about? You know, what's your experience level? How would you describe yourself? And we did add, let me follow up with and that's one of the reasons we've mentioned it 2 or 3 times in the email newsletters, to update your member profile so that people can add in that fresh content. So let me see why that's not populating. Because
yeah, because I put it in yesterday. I also didn't see it on Sharon's when Sarah. Yeah, so I don't think it's there, and I think it's pretty essential.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something new that we did just a few months ago. On mine, it shows. So it might just be a little button click that our website admin needs to make happen. I'll follow up with that. I'll see what we can do.
Thanks, Kevin. That sounds great. We got a great question in the chat. Lexi, thank you for sharing this about how do we find an accountability group or a mastermind group? Oh, Jesse, thanks for being here. And that's a great question. So I want to be careful because I don't know the history of all of them. I know we've had some mastermind groups that have been around for a really long time, Kevin. So I don't know how all of them have formed. But what I've heard is that we put out a call for folks who want to join a mastermind. And when we receive the responses, we form new mastermind groups. Is that still what's expecting? And so that call might come out later this year. And we do that about once a year. Is that right?
Was that to me?
Yes.
Yeah, that's something else that we started new this year, was to have that ability to connect for folks that wanted to have that more small group opportunity. And there could be multiple masterminds that populate. I think the best ones are ones that are more tight knit, people aligned with certain values and things like that. The SIGs have their own kind of, that's more project and topical, but we do, as a chapter, we do quarterly masterminds. We have our next one coming up in right now it's in December. But if, like, let's say that any of you wanted to meet more frequent, like, hey, I want to kind of form more of a mastermind group, or call it whatever you might, that meets, monthly or every other week, or as you wish, we can help facilitate that. But we would need you all, that group would kind of need a leader to kind of then kind of coordinate. So how can you do that? Would be, we can follow up with all, like all the registrants from past masterminds, or we could even, like Sarah, you and I could talk about like another, just something to the whole membership that says, hey, if you want to continue on something on, like, in your own group, we can help facilitate that. There's kind of a couple ways we could do it. So we'll do it in some way and figure out what the best approach might be.
Yeah. So Lexi, thank you for asking that question. I want to see if you have any follow-up questions, but just to reiterate what Kevin said, it sounds like what would be helpful is for the board to put out some information to all members and say, would anybody be interested in joining a mastermind that meets regularly? And then maybe folks can pick what meeting regularly means to them, and we can stand up some mastermind groups. But each mastermind group would likely need to have a leader. And based on what I've heard from folks who are in a mastermind, I know those were really helpful for folks during COVID, especially some of the ones that have existed for a long time. It was members meeting each other at events and saying, I feel like we're working on similar things. I'd love to stay in touch with you. Would you like to join a mastermind with me? And then they kind of generated that. And then the chapter provided them with some support, identifying other potential members, but there was a leader associated with that. That doesn't mean it's how it has to happen in the future, but I think that's how the successful ones that exist started. So Lexi, what else can we share about that?
Yeah, well, what I'm looking for is almost like an accountability group for finishing my book. And I know this is a SIG kind of offset, and I think you mentioned mastermind, but also an accountability. So if it's not mastermind, it would definitely be specific to this one goal, and curious on others who might be having similar goals that we could meet and say, okay, this is, what are we doing this week? What are our goals? Are we moving forward?
Yeah. Where is Jim, Larice? We have talked about this, y'all. Michelle. So we had that SIG about book publishing, and this came up as a request. And so we actually, Kevin and I kind of just approved, we are going to stand up an action team specifically around book publishing. And we polled some members who expressed interest in this, and overwhelmingly people said they wanted to at least meet monthly, and that accountability was a big part of it. So we're going to be putting information out for folks who want to join an action team, and book publishing is going to be one of those action teams. And the idea is that this action team would exist for about 6 months, meet at least monthly. People within that might decide to meet more often. So look for communication about that. Kevin and I are going to try to get that out this week. And for folks who are interested in that accountability for something else, like going after your CSP, for example, we're going to be standing up action teams for some of those SIG related topics as well. Awesome. Yeah, Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, listening to everyone talk, it's really encouraging. I would also just recommend the organic formation. So some masterminds have just organically come about. It wasn't organized by NSA. It's, as you mentioned, Sarah, you're around each other at events and you get to know each other and you find like-mindedness. Maybe you're at a level of speaking that is similar to each other. And you need that camaraderie to kind of go to the next level. So that I just want to encourage people that the more you get involved in NSA, the more you're going to find organic connection that actually leads to even stronger potential for you. I was going to also just mention, I've been around NSA for years. I've been a member for a year. So I have a lot more experience than I do membership time in it. That some of the, I don't know how often they're actually done, where we've got a monthly meeting that tends to be on a Saturday morning and lunch is included. I don't go to all of them, but the ones I go to, I go away thinking, I'm really glad I went to that. Number one, for the content itself, but then number two, for the connection and community that's developed through that. So if you haven't taken advantage of those larger content meetings, that's a great place to actually feel more invested and more connected to NSA. And also, I real quickly went to my profile on NSA Carolinas. In my profile, all of what I do as a speaker, what I speak on, all kinds of stuff is there. When I look at my directory, it's not on the directory side of things.
So it's in your profile, but it's not
The
populating on the
information
website.
was inputted, but it's not on the directory.
That sounds like a techie our side kind of thing. And so I heard Michelle earlier volunteered to take on anything techie. I'm just kidding, Michelle. We will get our chapter, and she said, no, thank you. We will get our chapter administrator to take a look at that and figure it out, because if you're putting information in there, we want that to show. I think we also got a request for us as members to have more control over what contact information shows. We might want to put something in our profile for internal members to see, but maybe not public. So we'll check on all of that. So thanks for putting that in the chat. Awesome. This is great. It looks like I got a question from John. Yes, sir.
Sarah, thank you and Kevin for doing this today. It's been very helpful. I'm not a neophyte to the speaking, but I am a neophyte to the speaking business. And there is a difference between the two of them. I've been involved kind of like Jim in coaching and training for a number of years in my life, but have not done as much paid keynote speaking during my days, and would like to know more about that. I've had a couple friends that are Hall of Famers, Scott McCain and Mark Sanborn, that have encouraged me to be involved with the NSA over the years, but I've never done so. But now I have decided to do so. But anyway, I appreciate y'all doing this today. I've got just a couple questions. One, you talked about discounted fees and free events. Is there a discounted fee to join NSA or to attend Influence by being a member of NSA Carolinas? Would be the first question. The second question would be, as it relates to the SIG that you mentioned on CSP designation, would there be a video of that SIG training available that we could watch? So those would be my two questions. And again, thank you very much for doing this today.
Oh, John, you're the best. Thank you for saying that. I don't want to speak for you, Kevin, but I know that we were excited to put this on and to have this chance to connect with y'all. So thank you for being here. Your second question's easy, so I'm going to answer that one and then let Kevin answer the first one. No, I'm just kidding. The second question you asked was, for the SIG, is there a recording of that available? The one that focused on CSP? And the answer is yes, we do have a recording of that. So we can get that to you. Okay. Also, on the NSA national website, if you go to their page about CSPs, and actually, let me pull that back up for you, sir. So over here on this page about becoming a CSP, they also have a short video that has, I think, some helpful information as well. And you can download some other things. So right here on NSA National's website, nsaspeaker.org/CSP, definitely check out that resource. Okay. And then I want to call out for everyone. John mentioned something. It's the NSA National events. Now, in case you hear about this, I want to clear something up. It used to be that to join NSA Carolinas, you had to be a national member. That is no longer the case. So if you meet anybody who says, oh, I think you have to join NSA National to be a chapter member, right? You can say, what can you say, Ruby?
You are not telling the truth.
You are not telling the truth. Ruby, I'll buy you coffee next time I see you next. Thank you for letting me pick on you. That's not true. You don't have to join NSA National to be a member of the chapter. However, you're welcome to join NSA National. And there's a whole nother suite of benefits that we could do. I'm a member of NSA National because I need the pro Zoom account, the one that I can host webinars, and it gives me a huge discount for that. So for me, it's worth it. But John mentioned the events. So Influence is definitely the biggest. That's a huge conference. But there's other events that you can join. I really like Thrive, just as an introvert. That's a smaller conference that they have in the early spring. Registration information coming soon is what it says on the website right now. And I am going to throw this one to you, Kevin. Is it true that as a member of a chapter that you get discounts, or do you need to be a member of NSA National to get discounts on events? Do you know, or is that something we can look out for?
They don't offer, they offer an early bird and regular registration for
Okay.
members of national, as well as, sorry, let me make it more simple. No, they do not offer a discount for chapters. They only have a discount if it's like an early bird registration for, and whether you're a member of national or not. So NSA Carolinas doesn't have, like, you don't get a further discount or get a discount just by being an NSA Carolinas member. I know that's been recommended, but currently they don't.
Can I ask how much the NSA is?
I think it's $997 or so. It's like right under $1,000, right, Kevin, to join NSA National.
Right, and they just changed that membership model. And I'm glad we're talking about this. The past 3 years, they've and hey, this is we've all, or many of us have been involved with national organizations. So, you know, they've tried to do what's best for the association as well as the members. But they've changed their membership offering 2 or 3 times in the past couple of years. Now they have one membership. You join one membership level. Whereas a year and a half ago, it was 4 levels. You pick which level you want, and each level gave you different things. And they also required you to be a member of national if you're going to be a member of your local. Now you don't have to be a member of your local to be a member of national. But like today, this is a benefit of local membership, right? And there's about 32 different, roughly 32 plus or minus chapters throughout the country. So yeah, I believe right now it's it might be $925 to join national. And with that, you get a couple really good value of some things, as well as discounted registration rates for some of their national events. And they typically do 3 national events a year. Thrive, as Sarah mentioned, which is in the spring. Influence, which is normally in July. I think next year it's in early August though. And then they have a CSP summit, but only if you have a CSP can you go to that. That's usually in December.
That's great.
Is this a yearly fee? Is this yearly?
Yeah, it's an annual fee. And then as Ruby mentioned in the chat, sometimes they roll NSA National membership into events, which your local chapter does as well. So for example, NSA Carolinas, if you join Speaker Academy, you can sometimes roll your membership into Speaker Academy. And so similarly, NSA National has an option where if you register for Thrive and become a national member, the membership and Thrive are rolled in together. And so there is a discount. So we will do our best to help communicate that out to our members when we see things like that in our communications, and our wonderful VP of marketing, Peter A, can do that. Y'all, I want to do something real quick, and then I'm happy to stay on. I can stay on, but I know some folks have to sign on at 1 o'clock. I have a bonus member benefit for you that I did not put in my PowerPoint. And the bonus member benefit is cool techie stuff you might not have otherwise heard about, which is not exactly written in a great benefit way, but it's so true. Every time, Jim mentioned, every time he goes to an event, he's glad he's gone. Every time I go to an event, I'm glad I went, and I learned about some cool techie thing that I didn't know about before. And y'all, I write for TechWire. Like I'm in it, and I'm still learning from other members about techie stuff I didn't know about. Recently, our chapter has been geeking out about a tool called Talkadot. Have y'all heard of Talkadot? Anybody? A couple people? Yeah. We have been geeking out about it. If you follow Larry Long Jr. on Instagram, you can see his Talkadot ratings. It's a tool where you can quickly get feedback about how a talk went, and then you can share that really easily on your social. It also has a feature where if anyone in the audience is responsible for booking speakers, they can make themselves known, and then you capture those potential leads. Now, as part of today, I thought we could try it out. So I'm going to share so that you can try the experience out my Talkadot code. Let me know how today went for you. You can use your phone, or if you don't want to, here's a link for the chat. Here you go. So if you click on that link and then put NSAC for NSA Carolinas, or you use the QR code and put in NSAC, try it out. Give me feedback about today's session. Let me know what else you would like to learn about. It'll give you a chance to check out Talkadot, and you'll be giving us some feedback about how today went. So I'm going to stop talking while y'all do that. If you have to sign off at 1, we loved having you. Thank you so much for being here. If you'd like to stay on and ask questions, we would love that.
Awesome. Hey, let's give a shout out to Sarah if we can. I'm going to hit the stop record, but if you want to stick around for a few, we'll do some overtime, as Sarah mentioned. Definitely do that. But let's give Sarah a round of applause.
Oh, thanks, y'all.
Woohoo! And we'll see y'all soon at an event. Bye.
Great job.